Hey, welcome to the Umbrella Vlog Academy, the series that I'm starting now, and I guess I'm gonna do. Hopefully I don't get bored of it, hopefully I can go through with this. Where I'm gonna review every episode of the Umbrella Academy as I watch it. I don't know these comics. I have known of them for a while. Do not personally know the story of the comics, so I'm not going to be judging it on that front. If it's nothing like the comics, fine. Okay, I don't know that. I'm judging it as a series. Okay, so if this is like a situation where it's like completely, nothing like anything, don't at me is basically what I'm saying. Basically what I'm saying is if this doesn't represent the comic book, please don't bring that up. I don't care. I literally don't care. Because it couldn't matter less to me. But yeah, I will be reviewing this as a show. Now, before I get into my thoughts on the first episode, I think I need to go into what I know about this story and what I do know about the comic going into this. I knew it was written by Gerard Way, and that's essentially all I knew. I had heard it was kind of like an X-Men type thing, like X-Men meets Watchmen, I think is how I had heard it described to me. But of course, I love me some Gerard Way, some My Chemical Romance, and I even enjoyed his Killjoys comic that he did for to tie in with the My Chem Danger Days album. So, I know Gerard Way writes good comic books. I just never gotten around to Umbrella Academy. And when it was announced that it was going to become a show, I purposefully stayed far away from the comic because I wanted to judge the show on its own. So, if I end up loving the show, maybe I'll read the comic, who knows. But that's literally all I knew. I knew it was X-Men meets Watchmen, and it was done by Gerard Way. Now, going into this episode, rather not going into the episode, but let's talk about the episode. These are unscripted. Going into the episode, I have complicated thoughts. I felt like there were very strong moments, but it suffered from the pilot problem, and the pilot problem is you have to get people interested in you have to set everything up, basically. You have to try to interest people, and you have to set everything up. And I feel like most of what was established here didn't actually need this full 59 minutes to set up. I feel like everything that happened in this episode could have been done in maybe like 10-20 minutes. I definitely feel like there was a lot of padding in this episode, which is very concerning for a pilot, because like I said, the point of a pilot is to interest people and to set things up. It's to you take it to investors and you're like, this is gonna sell my show. That's what a pilot does. It's like, if you're interested in this, we can make more. And the fact that I feel like there was a lot of padding in the pilot makes me very concerned about how the show is going to go forward. Because I literally just, I feel like this could have been done in 20 minutes. I mean, look at what happens in this episode. Not much. It's a lot of, it's a lot of exposition, and like I said, that's part of the pilot problem. Most pilots are smart enough to not get bogged down by this, but they all do have to deal with the fact that you do have to set up a lot of stuff, and especially with a show like this, it's a little bit, like you got all these characters, and it's happening after the interesting part, or rather, like, it's happening after what most would consider the interesting God, how do I describe this? Okay, so like it's happening after the X-Men graduate the school, basically. If this was an X-Men story, this would be long after the students were in the academy. So it's called the Umbrella Academy, but it's in fact taking place long after they have left this academy. And in fact, long after their respective Professor X has died. And so it's happening after the point in which most stories of this type would actually be taking place. So I realize you have to set up some stuff like that. It's a weird place to start a story. But of course that's the story it's telling. I realize you have to set up the status quo before this point, and you have to set up how everyone is and all the characters. But I definitely feel like there was a lot of padding, a lot of stuff that was just unnecessary. I was bored for I wouldn't say a good chunk, but sizable chunks. Because I'd say that by and large I wasn't bored, but there were chunks that I was bored during. And also I'm still not entirely sure about who these characters are. I mean, once again, that's fine, it's a pilot. But once again, I mean, what a pilot is supposed to do is set things up and interest you. And I am interested in maybe... I'm definitely interested in 2 characters, possibly interested in 3. And that's really what it comes down to. I am possibly interested in Vanya. I want to know where she's going to go, what her deal is, because she's very mysterious. She's played by Ellen Page, who's, of course, from the X-Men movies, so that's kind of cool. But she's possibly interesting, but the 2 characters that are absolutely interesting, that actually I am interested to see where they go, is I don't know their names yet. Obviously, this is very raw. I don't know their names, but the kid that comes from the future, he's really cool. I like him. By the way, these are spoilers that it should say on the video. That this is a spoiler thing, but I like the kid. He's really cool. He comes from the future. He's funny. Charismatic. I like him a lot. He's definitely probably my favorite character so far. Was instantly I would say that character was instantly interesting. You know what I mean? Versus I still don't think that big strong guy is interesting at all. I don't find the model particularly interesting. I don't know. I don't know what her deal is, and I love her power. The model's power is really cool. So if she uses that power later on in the series, she could be interesting. But as a character, as a character, I don't like her. I think she's like I said, just hasn't been given anything interesting to do yet, or been characterized in any notable ways yet. But like I said, her power is really cool. So actually, she could put her in the maybe pile. But the big strong guy, not interested at all. The knife throwing guy, not really interested at all. But the other character that I absolutely am interested in, that I thought was really cool, was the I don't know how you describe it, like the metrosexual, like kleptomaniac guy. He was hilarious. I definitely like him. He is very funny. When he just every scene, he stole every scene he was in. That guy was great. That guy was hilarious. I'm definitely interested in him. I think his name was Klaus, if I'm right. But he absolutely stole every scene he was in. So I'd say he's probably my favorite character. Him and the kid. They're actually tied right now. Him and the kid. The mom seems interesting. I don't know if she would count as like a character. She's obviously a character, but she's sort of a secondary thing. She seems interesting. I'm pretty sure she's a robot. That she is, right? Or at least that's what you're supposed to think right now, or I don't know. She definitely seems like a robot. In the monkey, I'm not really interested in, but I did appreciate the monkey because I it definitely woke me up. I mean, if the episode was kind of boring up into that point, when I saw the monkey hug Ellen Page, I was like, what the heck's going on here? So so it definitely made me do a double take and I pay a little bit more attention. So so I guess I appreciate the monkey, and he seems sweet. He seems like a champ. The monkey seems like a champ. Quote that. So number 6 seems kind of interesting, but yeah, basically at this episode, nothing really happened. Basically, that's unfair. A few things happened, but like I said, it suffered from a lot of padding, and this episode's story could have been told in 20 minutes, rather than the 59 that it took. Because really, when you come down to it, they got to it was all the different kids or whatever, as adults now, they get to the academy and basically just talk to each other. They're because the dad died. Just basically just talk to each other, catch up and all that. Which once again, I feel like that could have been done in a better way. But yeah, than the way it was done. Yeah, they just catch up, and then they have a funeral, and the knife throwing guy and the strong guy, so like the two least interesting characters as of right now, really, they get into a fight, and then Ellen Page runs off, and I guess all the rest of them run off after. And there's a really cool fight scene in a diner, which was done really well. That was probably the best scene in the whole thing, was the fight in the diner. That was really cool with the kid. And yeah, what happened after that? Oh yeah, the kid, for some reason, Ellen Page is back at the academy. I have no clue why. I thought she ran away. I thought that's why they were all running away. But I guess she's there again. Actually, doesn't that kid have the ability to time travel? I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm reading into that. But no, she was back, and he's like, I can trust you because you don't have powers. And he's like, the world will end in 8 days, which I guess is going to be the point of this show. I guess they're going to have to work together to stop the world from ending. But if I had to guess, that knife guy is going to be the villain, and he's going to be like, no. And maybe the metrosexual kleptomaniac will come in somewhere too. He seems like he could possibly be a villain. He seems like this show's Loki. He seems like he could either be a villain or a hero, depending on his mood that day. So I don't know how he'll factor into this, but the knife guy definitely seems to be the villain. And yeah, he's not an interesting villain. the reveal that he is the villain, really, or rather that, like I said, it seems like he's going to be the villain. That reveal was treated like a twist, but it's so not a twist though. Like, it's so expected because that guy is so, like, comically jerky. You know what I mean? He's such a jerk. To the well-meaning big guy. Like I said, the big guy is not interesting. You don't care about him, but he's well-meaning. You know, at least he seems to be, based on my perception of this one episode. Big guy seems, like I said, he seems genuine. He seems like he actually kind of misses the dad. And then this knife guy's being like a major jerk, like, oh wow, I'm gonna blah blah blah, whatever. It's like, let's talk about him like he actually was, or whatever. And it's like, dude, you're at a funeral, like, And then when the klepto guy throws the cigarette on the ashes, I was like, I mean, I don't know. I thought that was kind of funny, actually, but kind of a mess. Like I said, I mean, the klepto guy is hilarious, but as for the big guy, just, you're at a funeral, dude. Just stop. Use common sense when you're at a funeral, knife throwing guy, because you're clearly the villain. And if you're not the villain, you're clearly duplicitous in the fact that you had the dad's monocle. I mean, I don't know. This episode didn't give me a lot to work with, because it didn't have a lot. I mean, this episode is 59 minutes long. With, like I said, I mean, I hate to keep repeating myself, with maybe 20 minutes of content, that you could definitively talk about. Everything else was just padding and just the most boringly done exposition. But the parts that were cool in this episode, the interesting parts of this episode were interesting enough that I do want to see episode 2, and I'm going to see episode 2 because of this series. You know, hopefully this series will be a motivating factor for me to finish the show. Yeah. Interesting enough stuff to keep me watching, but definitely a mixed bag to start out with. I'd probably rate this I don't know if I'm gonna rate each episode, but if I have to, I guess that'll be a 5 out of 10. So very, very middle. Pretty much an equal amount of good and bad. So yeah. Hopefully episode 2 will be a little bit better. And one more thing I forgot to mention. Jeff Russo, who does the score for Legion, which is my favorite non-comedy TV series, actually he does the music for this. And his music's very good. I like pretty much all the music so far. Jeff Russo usually does good work. I mean, I haven't come across a soundtrack of his that isn't great. So there you go, Jeff. Jeff Russo acknowledgement. Also, the show has some visuals that are kind of Legion-y. Also, it's so weird watching Legion influence so many shows. You know, from Maniac to this, the Umbrella Academy, to not really show, but to the New Mutants movie, which it definitely influenced. And of course, there's the Jeff Russo connection there. But I'm honestly rambling at this point. That was my thoughts on the Umbrella Academy episode 1 of season 1. So I guess now I'm gonna go do 2. Cool.